Alright, we're just going to talk about how I did that. So a lot of people might have some questions as to how that was so easy. And we're going to get to that. So let's just start off with Leon. Leon has a Max Hone keepsake knife, a lot of defensive resistance. He also has the Darkborn blade, so he can actually attract single target and physical attacks. For his shield, the shield actually increases holy damage. So I actually have that paired with Banishing Strike. And Banishing Strike is doing a lot of holy damage with that shield. He's also not taking a lot of fire damage, and this boss really does a lot of fire damage. So I give him the Blaze Armor then, because I know that his Darkborn blade is actually going to attract most of the damage, and most of that damage from the boss is fire, so that made sense. For group-wide defense and attack, I had the Emperor. I used that in the beginning of the battle. And for damage reduction, I used Magic Break. I used that because I had two knights. There wasn't really enough room with a support character such as Tyro and Ishtola on healing, and I already had a Holy White Mage doing damage, so there wasn't enough room. So I had the knights take the combat breakdowns instead of support. Next we go to Agrias. Similar setup, except Agrias is using a defender, and it's actually a 4-star defender honed twice, or actually combined twice, to get that ++. Still a great weapon. And also I have the same setup. I have Platinum Shield with the bonus effect of holy damage, and I also have Cleansing Strike. So on a single target boss, this is actually reducing the damage for attack and magic a large amount, so he wasn't hitting a lot once I hit that off. And she's taking Power Break. Leon has Magic Break and have Banishing Strike as well. For the materia, she's using Mako Might, so right off the beginning of the battle, I already had a Cleansing Strike ready to go, and so he wasn't healing me for a lot. Next we go to Ovelia. Ovelia is using an Ashura's Rod from Final Fantasy IX. The reason why is because this weapon actually boosts holy damage. So even though the magic is just a few points lower, and also the mine is just a few points lower than other staffs, for holy damage this is actually a great rod. And she's also using the Sorceress Crown. This is absolutely possibly one of the best hats in the game if you have the Sorceress Crown already to 7-star, currently at least. It's actually giving her 30 mind, also a lot of resistance and 41 attack. And she's using a Flame Ring, which also has a slight defense boost. The Soulbreak Princess's Prayer actually allows the party to avoid a magic attack. And when you can avoid magic attacks on a magical boss, and you have Leon taking most of the damage and Agrias reducing a lot of the damage, you're not going to be hurting a lot with the magic boss. Next I go to Ishtola. Ishtola has a maxed out Tiras, which gives her Stone Skin. This is only useful if, like for example, I need High Mind on a healing character. Even with no synergy, 133 is actually decent. And for the group healing, I actually have a Precious Watch for healing moment. So even though the Tiras weapon doesn't allow me to heal, it just gives me Stone Skin, I combine the high mind stats with the Precious Watch to get a group heal off. And she also has a Flame Ring, because casters typically don't have a lot of defense. And I also have Healer's Prayer record material. Healer's Prayers 2 record material for the possibility of healing to people, but as you guys saw, there wasn't any need for that. And also I have Tyro, named after myself, CrazyDmg. And I decided to keep him as a physical defender. He's taking full break, so that's damage. It makes sense to have him take a damaged weapon. And for group heals, he has a Bard's Bracelet 4, very similar to what Istola has. And he also has a Gygas Armlet. So the Gygas Armlet is actually giving him moderate fire resistance. And I also have Sentinel Guard, which I'm actually using it with Dr. Mog's teachings to get Sentinel Guard at the beginning of the battle. And other than that, there's really not much hit. This boss really needed a lot of holy damage, and I have Leon, Agrias, Ovilia doing the holy damage. And plus, you guys saw that I use Paladin Cecil with Paladin Force. So I had the BSB on Leon and Agrias, and whenever you're in BSB mode, that actually boosts your stats. So whenever I was using the second defense ability for the BSB, I was doing about 5,500, so I was really doing about over 10,000, between 10,000 and 12,000 damage per each strike. So yeah, I mean, this was like the perfect party, I think, for holy vulnerability. And the really nice thing is it has excellent magic damage mitigation. Also, I have Sentinel Guard and Stone Skin 2 with Istola and Tyro, or CrazyDmg. And 2 Knights, well, the 2 Knights can do a lot of damage, and they can also use Banishing Strike. So that's what I recommend personally. I mean, you guys may have different setup, and not everyone's going to have the same setup. But for me, 2 Banishing Strikes and a Max Honed Holy, which, you know, I just got this yesterday. It took me 14 months, but I have Holy with 10 uses, so the battle could have gone on, but I would have still had enough uses. And also, the Banishing Strikes is also honed to rank 5 on both. So I think anybody can do this boss. If we look at the description, he also has a random vulnerability, but that random vulnerability will always change. So you can't really rely on taking other abilities, because there's no guarantee that it's going to be the one you actually have. So I think going holy on this boss just made a whole lot of sense. You know, he's vulnerable to holy, water, and ice, but every time he uses Flood of Despair, you get a random vulnerability. And let's see, for target score, definitely if you take full break at least, you'll reduce attack, magic, defense, and resistance, so you'll qualify for those 2. And you gotta take at least 1 holy attack ability to actually get the last target score requirement. But he's always vulnerable to holy damage, so definitely take holy. And even says right there, he becomes immune to everything but holy and once randomly selected element. So to actually do a lot of good damage, I recommend taking a lot of holy, and it worked for me. Alright, this is CrazyDmg, and thank you for watching. Until next time.